difficult schedule, one of the most difficult schedules in the country, and been really proud of the mentality and how they've handled things. Really have.
Has anyone come to you and expressed interest in moving on or transferring or anything?
Not at this time.
Have you seen, I guess, the momentum on the recruiting trail over the last 2 weeks? How's that going and talking guys?
It's been outstanding. You know, you really look at the investment we're making in the university, and obviously the Ken and Cindy Long operations facility, which I was in this past Saturday, and it's amazing. We're going to move in January 7th. And that's going to be a difference maker in our program. Really excited about all the investments we're making in our program. And I think that the players see that. They see the style we played offensively this year, which is exciting. It's helped us obviously on the offensive side of the ball, and obviously our track record defensively speaks for itself. I didn't have the year we wanted to have defensively, but looking forward to what we have coming back.
Is there a challenge on the recruiting trail with some of the rumors that kind of floating around about Bobby and Dan sort of having to tamp those down? Kind of?
Absolutely not. It's flattering and says a lot about our staff. And we've had a bunch of coaches get other opportunities, and they're staying in South Carolina.
Did you have any worries on that front or not really?
Absolutely not. We got a great place.
Your entire staff has stayed. That's your understanding at this point.
Right now, yeah.
What was your thought on what Bronco said up there about coaches staying for bowl games if they want to set a precedent that players need to stay?
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that at the end of the day, the bowl game is a reward for your players and your staff and your university for a season, and that's you ought to stay a part of that. I agree with his comments.
Coach, why do you feel the indoor facility is going to be such a game changer? I know you mentioned that multiple times, but why do you feel that way?
Well, it all goes back to investment. When you invest in the student athlete, it's very easy to see, and it's tangible to see the investment we're making. You're talking about a 110,000 square foot facility, $50 million. And it is absolutely beautiful. It's been done first class. We appreciate all of the efforts of everyone that's come together to make this thing work. But anytime a parent or a guardian or anyone wants to be able to see the investment, what are you doing for my son? And when they see that tangible investment, they see what we're doing academically with the graduation rates, which is the best in the Southeastern Conference. They see what we're doing now as a developmental standpoint for a student athlete, and that's the most important thing.
Well, kind of a two-parter here. How do you think Josh Vann has played throughout this season?
I think he's played really well. You know, again, it's a guy that had to step up for us there in the last ball game, and will be a guy that his role will obviously enhance for the Belk Bowl.
I was going to ask that. Do you kind of slide him in that Debo role or let Shaq kind of?
Well, Shaq's going to play outside. I think Josh can play inside and still play outside, but we're going to move those guys around to get the best combination of what we can get on the field.
Bronco mentioned his team last year had problems with getting motivated for their bowl. How do you combat that as a coach?
Well, it's another opportunity to play, and you only have so many. And so I know that I think, again, it goes back to culture of your organization, the leadership on your football team, which I think ours has been very good this year with the adversity we've faced and how we've continued to fight and play. Again, I think that a lot of that is gauged in how bowl practice is going. We haven't started yet. But I did think that our guys needed some time off after a long season.
How much of a benefit is there kind of in that break? The guys don't see you for a few weeks, that kind of thing?
Well, again, I think you got to decompress and get away from a long season. I think that's good for coaches, it's good for players, it's good for everybody. And, when you have a long physical season, you be able to get your body back a little bit and get in the weight room and lift a little bit and get stronger. But more than anything, just from a mental standpoint of having a little bit of a break. People do it different ways. Bronco and them are practicing right now with their younger players. We choose to stay on the road recruiting and put it all in 1 week and not break it up as much. It's just my preference as far as preparing our team.
Well, I believe I read the schedule correctly. You're going to let the kids off on the 20th, and then they'll be back 22nd, and then be back 25th.
We'll start practice on the 17th on Monday. I have 2 really training camp-like practices, really probably 3, and then start on Virginia that Wednesday, and then we'll break on Saturday morning, and they'll have the 23rd and 24th off, and we'll meet at the bowl site the 25th.
How much guys will just come here? You don't have to bus up together?
No, we're going to have some buses that will be coming from Columbia, but we'll all be for a team meeting, and then we'll have some walkthroughs and go back some things mentally that night as far as for preparation for the practice the next morning.
How much has your philosophy changed on that? Because it seemed like a while ago they would use their full 15 with practices, and now some teams like people are foregoing that.
I think that, again, it becomes almost punishment to play in a bowl game if you got to practice, 15 more practices. At the end of the day, I want it to be a reward for the season that we had. Obviously, do we need to get the practice time in and practice? Absolutely. And we're going to get really good work. We're going to have, from Monday to Saturday, a great work week in Columbia. The entire game plan will be done by the time we get here to Charlotte. We'll brush things up on the 26th and 27th and have a walkthrough on the 28th and get ready to play the game.
Well, seasons are long anyway, but was this one maybe a little more mentally draining with the weather issues and then having a game schedule and do something?
Sometimes the uncertainty of, I don't think the Marshall game was canceled on Thursday. Yeah. Maybe it was Wednesday afternoon or Thursday. And, that's a little frustrating to go through the game plan and practice all week and then you don't get to play. So that was a little frustrating, but it is what it is. We got 2 open dates next week, and our guys were able to go through that. And we played probably one of our better games on the road in Nashville that next week, so we handled it well. And obviously we want to be playing that last week and that first week in December. That's the goal.
How's Ortre Smith doing?
Really good. He's ahead of schedule. And talking to Clint Haggard this morning, he feels really comfortable about where Ortre is. Yeah.
Will, can you get early enrollees, not looking for names or anything, but early enrollees in to go through bowl practice? Is that possible?
Yeah, it's a little bit more difficult from a standpoint of, they've still got to go through an acclimatization period.
Sure.
Spell that. All right. But they have to go through that as far as 2 helmets practices, 2 shells practice, and then a full pads practice. But they can be a part of meetings, which I think is important. They can be a part of the tempo of practice, which I think is really good. So there is a benefit from it. There's a possibility we may have some.
You have a breakdown, at least or speculation on percentage what you expect to get next week as opposed to February?
Well, yeah, I think, I don't want to don't hold me to it, but I would say in that 20 range, I would say right in that 20 range, and then we'll kind of reassess where we are. I'm like Bronco. I like the early signing date. I think it's beneficial for the recruiting calendar is so much more accelerated than it was. Guys are taking visits in the spring. Guys are making their decision. They're firm in what they want to do. They have all the information, and then you just got to wait till February for it. And some of them don't. Some of them are, different situations may arise, a coaching change, or maybe some different things that might have happened with a young man's recruitment, and he needs a little bit more time to make the decision. So that's fine with me. And so I would say in the 20 range, and then we'll kind of reassess from there.
Would you expect the majority of those to be early enrollees?
Yes. Yeah.
Can any of those guys come around practice if they're on campus?
Yes.
Well, what's the status of DJ Warner? How's he doing?
He's doing well. We're going to probably medical him this year. There's a possibility. There's a question whether he could have gotten back for the bowl game or not, and probably could. But at the end of the day, he played 5 games, so we'll try and use that as a medical red shirt to get another year back for him, depending on how he plays next year.
The process going for applying for a 6-year for JT, Nick, and Eldridge.
We're in that process right now. So Nick and JT both. So I can't comment really.
Eldridge is good to go.
We're still in that process.
Basketball team plays 19th and 23rd. Will Evan be with them or come back with you guys?
Well, I haven't talked to Frank about that. That was part of Evan's recruitment. He wanted to play basketball, and I said, when we're not practicing and we're not preparing, then you need to be a part of that. He came up to me after the Akron game and looked at me, and I said, "Yep, you'll be at practice tomorrow." So, I know he's contributing. I know he played well against Michigan, so I'm really happy for Evan. And if he's helping our basketball team, then he needs to be helping them. But when we're practicing, he should be back at practice with us. But I haven't talked to Frank yet.
But you guys start again on the 17th?
17th.
Yep.
A lot of times they practice in the afternoon when we're not in class, and we practice in the morning. He did that last year because he went up and played in the game last year, practiced with us in the morning, practiced with them in the afternoon, and then the next day he wanted to contribute and play in the game. I asked Frank, I said, is he in the game plan? He said, he's in the game plan. I said, good, let him go play. But he's doing a really good job academically, and that's the whole deal. If you do a good job academically and you keep your grades up and we don't have any issues off the field, and Evan's been great. He's worked extremely hard. It is very difficult what he's doing. I mean, it's really hard, and I've been really proud of him how he's handled it.
I was about to say, I know you've seen 2 sports stars, but have you seen a guy that does that, practice each in one day and then play?
He's got a lot of energy, a lot more than me. But I've been really proud of how he's handled it. And hey, he's helping our football team. He's helping our basketball team. He's doing a lot for our university.
Have you seen an impact? You mentioned battling the recruiting and time management thing with bowl practice. Have you seen a situation where that's difficult as far as, we might have a coach who's out this week trying to recruit and things of that nature?
Well, we hadn't started practice, so it really hadn't affected us. So from that standpoint. But it's a little different on Wednesday. There's a little angst in the air when you're sitting there waiting on the pictures to come in. We don't wait on fax anymore. They take a picture of the NLI and send it in. So when you're waiting on all those to come in and you say 7 o'clock in the morning and all of a sudden it gets 7:30, it gets 7:45, we got meetings starting, and you're a little nervous in the meeting as you're sitting there checking your cell phone, which we don't have cell phones in our meetings except for on that day, and don't have cell phones at practice except for that day. So it's a little frustrating. I'd rather not have to deal with that, but that is what it is.
Cell phone on ringer or vibrate?
Vibrate. Don't disrupt the meetings.
Does Steve come in before every meeting and say, please remember to turn your cell phone on?